Jesse Jackson.
Today we stand as a tribunal of community concerns of all races and classes. We issue the following indictment against our political leaders.
We're tired of being taxed without representation, which is tyranny. We're here today because we're tired of politicians speaking with forked tongues. We're tired of absentee landlords and absentee politicians. I am somebody. I may be a student, but I am somebody. I am proud. I must be respected. I must be protected.
Certainly get goosebumps watching that. The life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson is being remembered today across the country and right here in North Texas. Joining me now live is former state representative Helen Giddings. Thank you so much for joining us today on really a somber day.
Absolutely. I'm pleased to be here to reflect on the life of the Reverend Jackson.
Absolutely. I understand that you worked with Reverend Jesse Jackson when you were chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. What do you remember about that season, about that time?
It was absolutely, working with him was just wonderful. He was so clear on how he thought we should be moving in this country, and he was very focused in on the conscience of America and looking at those things that were morally right.
And I remember we were just actually talking about this during commercial break. Reverend Jackson was good friends with Dallas businessman and civil rights leader Comer Cottrell and Pettis Norman, your neighbors, and
Yes.
also from Houston, Rodney Ellis. And tell us a little bit about just that friendship. What do you remember about that?
Well, they lived, they were my neighbors, as you said, Comer Cottrell and Pettis Norman, and it was just pretty much surreal to see Jesse Jackson there in my neighborhood when he was bigger than life, and he was just an ordinary person enjoying. One of them was a 4th of July barbecue at Pettis's house, and it was just wonderful being there with him. But he was always focused on what this country ought to be about.
He was such a force.
Yes.
And just was not afraid to really speak out and stand up for people. Something that really, I think, you know, when I think of Reverend Jesse Jackson is when President Barack Obama was elected as the first black president in 2008. And, you know, you look out into the sea of people, and there you see Reverend Jackson with tears rolling down his face. And we know, we know that he ran for president twice. He did not get the Democratic vote on that, however, but I do remember just him kind of sitting with that moment and realizing that this was a dream realized. What do you take away from that moment? What do you remember?
He was very, very proud when President Barack Obama was elected. And I think he must have understood that in '84 and '88, when he ran his campaign, he let America see what was possible, what we could imagine. And I think really that paved the way for a Barack Obama to become president.
Absolutely. I mean, he certainly walked so that President Obama could run.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, obviously we look at him as this force, as this giant who fought for so many of us. But what do you think would surprise people about him? Just I know you've worked with him, you've run into him at events. What do you think would surprise us?
He really was fun. He really was a fun person when he was not on stage and doubling down on his work. He really was a fun person. That's what I remember most about him in terms of just being a person. But overall, I think what he did for us was he turned protest into policy, and he showed us how to take policy and move that toward power. He was the moral conscious. And one of the things that I think he brought to the movement, I mean, obviously, he was a protege of Martin Luther King. He carried on that work, but he took it, I think, a step further in that he wanted us to understand the power of inclusiveness. Yes, we might all have different skin hues, but when you think about poverty, and when you think about lack of health care, when you think about education that is not the same for everybody, whoever that affects, it unites us under that common challenge that we're facing.
lastly, how do you sum up his legacy?
His footprint is all over civil rights history, and I think he was not just a hero here in the United States. He was known throughout the world. He actually had the ability to go into other countries and free political prisoners.
Yes, I mean, that was beautiful to see. He will certainly be remembered, and his legacy will never be forgotten. Former State Representative Helen Giddings, thank you so much for your time and for sharing, your experience with Reverend Jackson as well. We appreciate it.